So welcome everyone to our zipLogix member benefits training for members of the South Carolina Association of Realtors. My name is Cassandra Davis, and I'm going to guide you through some of your newest member benefits and, of course, take a quick moment just to talk about some of the great benefits still there and shortcuts available within zipForm 6. So the good news is we're actually going to go through zipForm 6 in order to access all of these great member benefits. We're going to talk about the different tools that you have access to and how you can go ahead and work from anywhere. Now, your member benefits include zipForm 6 so that you can fill out your forms and work with clients quickly and professionally. It also includes, alongside your forms, online storage, where you can add PDF documents or any other type of computer file, pictures, Word documents, Excel spreadsheets. So we've got this online storage capability now that's really wonderful, and it's called zipVault. So we're going to be talking about zipVault today. And working hand in hand with zipForm and zipVault, the mobile web edition lets you work from your phone or tablet or any other mobile device. Whether you're an Android user or an Apple user, you can go ahead and access all of your information quickly and easily from your phone or tablet. So we're going to talk about using that and even talk about using the tablet to go ahead and sign documents in person using TouchSign, because a key element of the paperless transaction is the ability to get signatures. Well, you can get signatures from your tablet, or you can send for signatures so that clients and others can click to sign documents using what we call zipLogix Digital Ink. And finally, we have our newest member benefit, zipConsult, which allows you to meet online. So if your clients happen to be somewhere else, you could meet face-to-face using your webcam and your internet connection. And zipConsult is also located right there inside of zipForm. So we're going to talk about these member benefits. I'm going to talk about some of the great features and how to access them yourself. And you are welcome to explore these benefits. And in our webinar series, we're going to be going over each of these benefits and learning more about each one. So in today's training, we're going to take a little bit of time talking about working online and on the go. We're going to talk about completing our forms in zipForm 6 and sending those files to be signed. We're first going to talk about sending them to be signed using zipLogix Digital Ink, because that's the one you use if you're at your computer and your client is at their computer. We're also going to talk about storing our files and documents inside zipVault. The great news is once documents have been signed using zipLogix Digital Ink or even using TouchSign in person on your tablet, then those files are stored inside of zipVault. And finally, we're going to talk about working from anywhere using zipConsult to meet face-to-face and the zipForm 6 mobile web edition. And you are welcome to explore all of these great member benefits. We'll talk about where you can go to explore them, to try them out for yourself. You can go ahead and try them at any point in time. They're always available for you. And as we continue through the year, we're going to be exploring each one of these in much more detail. But I'll also talk to you about where you can find additional help and support if you just want to get up and get running with these different programs. So let's take a look first at how we're going to go ahead and work online and on the go. Now, we start with your zipForm files. You can complete these files, share them, update your contracts. You can be accurate and professional using zipForm 6. And many of you are already familiar with zipForm, but we're going to go ahead and take a look further at going through all of the different options and some of the shortcuts as well. And then from zipForm, you might send your documents to be signed using zipLogix Digital Ink. Well, you can access zipLogix Digital Ink right from your e-sign button. So we're going to go ahead and talk about how we can prepare these documents so that we can click to sign them safely and securely from anywhere. And finally, once we've signed the documents, well, then we need to store them. We need to keep them online. And maybe you need to work with something outside of zipForm as well, whether it's a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet or even a signed form. You can use zipVault inside of your zipForm file to store and share additional information and even set expiration dates so that your documents are stored online for the number of years that you need them. So all of this is built right into zipForm. So you're starting where you're already familiar. You're going to go from zipForm to zipLogix Digital Ink to zipVault, and sometimes you might bounce back and forth in between them. So that's what we're going to talk about today, and we're going to see a little bit of that process. And of course, I encourage you to go ahead and explore for more details and more options. Now, we're going to start off at a very important web page, zipLogix.com. Now, here's where you can go in order to sign into zipForm, and that's going to allow you to access all of your member benefits. So we can go ahead and sign up or sign in at zipLogix.com. And zipLogix.com also has wonderful help resources, how-to videos, frequently asked questions, training, support, and even user manuals. So we have a lot of great resources for you to go ahead and access all of this information. And we're going to go ahead and access this information today right from that website, ziplogix.com. Now you'll notice right there inside of ziplogix.com, there is a login link. So if you've already signed up for zipForm 6, you can use the Login Here button to get straight to your login page. Or if you do need to sign up, just go ahead and click this Order button right there under zipForm 6. You will enter your member information, and as a member of the South Carolina Association of Realtors, then you will be able to go ahead and have all of your member benefits at no charge to you. So we're going to go ahead and access those member benefits today. So I'm going to click this Login Here button. You can also get here directly just by going to zipformonline.com. And we're going to go ahead and sign in. Now when you're signing in, you're using your username and your password that you have set up when you signed up for zipForm 6. If you've forgotten your username or forgotten your password, then you might be prompted to click the username or password links. Now when we sign in, zipForm is going to pop up in a new window. So I'm going to go ahead and click this Sign In button, and zipForm is going to come as a pop-up window. So make sure you have pop-ups enabled, or if you get a prompt telling you to enable pop-ups, go ahead and click Yes, Always Enable. Also, for the first time you are signing in, you want to go ahead and you want to make sure you follow the prompts if you need to upgrade, install, or enable Java. Java is a plugin that's used by zipForm that allows you to access your files and allows you to do all of the wonderful things that zipForm can do. Now, when we sign in, we are able to go ahead and access all of our member benefits and all of our features. So no matter when you signed up, you will have access to those great features as a South Carolina member. Now, in today's training, we're going to explore some of those features, and we're going to see how we can access them. Before we start exploring, I'd like to point out or highlight some of these features right now. Here, on our home page, we have our ability to access our transactions and start new files. And we can jump straight to the Forms page to fill out forms by clicking the Forms button. You'll also notice the zipVault icon. That's where you can go if you'd like to search through and sort through your forms and your files that you've saved inside of zipVault. And we'll also see the zipLogix digital ink page. On the zipLogix digital ink page, you'll be able to see which files you've sent for signatures. You'll be able to check the signatures for those files, and you could even send out just PDF documents. If you don't have a zipForm file and you just want to send out a PDF document or start a file without zipForm files, you could go ahead and do that straight from the zipLogix digital ink page. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump over into our forms. We're going to talk about adding a few forms very quickly, and we'll also talk about opening a file if you already happen to have one available. Now, here inside of our transactions, we are able to go through and quickly grab a form. So if you just need a form on the go, you're going to go down to your library of forms. In this case, I have the demonstration library, but you might select other forms from your list. And then double-click on any form within this library, within this set of forms that was created for you by your association, brokerage, or MLS. Double-clicking on a form opens that form and allows you to begin filling out that form. A couple of tricks for filling out forms. One, use your cover sheet. The cover sheet takes advantage of a great feature in zipForm. Whenever you type in any information in zipForm, if it's inside a common field like the seller's name, then that information will be copied to all other forms that you add or have inside your file. For instance, I'll just open up this counteroffer very quickly. You can see I already have Jim Seller's name typed out inside the counteroffer. So any common information, like the client's name, your information, property address, all of that standard information is copied throughout your forms. The cover sheet helps you take advantage of that feature. It is not a contract, and it is not required. It's a shortcut inside zipForm. If you use this cover sheet, you can quickly type in the client's information and take advantage of things like the drop-down lookup fields to look up things you typed previously in other forms, like cities and states and zip codes. You can also use the cover sheet to take advantage of some special fields. If I continue to property information, for instance, I come across some dates. So we have our calendar dates right there. And I come across some quick calculations as well. If you enter in a listing price, zipForm calculates out and adds the commas and decimal points. But if you enter in the balance of the first mortgage, and maybe a second mortgage was also taken out on the property, maybe there's a lien against the property from a contractor, well, zipForm adds those up for you. So there are a lot of shortcuts located on this cover sheet. We are going to have a training dedicated specifically to your cover sheet, to filling out that information and the shortcuts that you can use. I just wanted to give you a quick sample of that and to show you that the cover sheet is just there for your reference. It's something that could be printed out at any time or updated, and it really helps you focus on the key information, like the client's information or the property address. And when we focus on that key information, we can fill out the basics for the form in just a few minutes. And then be prepared with a professional, typed out contract, even for a basic listing presentation. You could fill out just the basic information for a seller using that cover sheet because you can focus in on it. And in 5 minutes, you could have a prepared professional file with the listing contract and other contracts you might need for the listing presentation. And then you'll be able to focus on details like terms and conditions once you meet up with the client. So that's one quick trick we can use to be more professional in our everyday experiences and encounters with the client. Again, that cover sheet is not required, but it is a fast, easy way to fill out that basic information. Now, once we've filled out our basic information, we can use the tools inside zipForm, including our quick edit tools, like the fast fill button, that square right there that strips away all of the form language, leaving just the fields to fill out. And we can use those to speed up the filling out and completion of forms. We can also use the tools on the File menu to help us save and label this form or set of forms for later, and perhaps even help us share these forms. You could download, print, email, fax, or even send these forms for signatures. Now within zipForm, there are a lot of tools that we can use on our other menu tabs, and we're going to take a look at some of those in a little bit when we come back to our transaction. We'll especially take a look at the zipVault tab for storage. But before we talk about storing our files, let's talk about signing our files. So you've filled out the basics on the forms, and if you're using zipForm 6 Professional, you might have used some of the tools available for you, whether it's going through and signing in for the first time from ziplogix.com, or going ahead from that home page and starting a new file, searching through a file, or opening up the file, or perhaps simply jumping directly to the forms. Now, that's what we did. We jumped directly to our forms in zipForm. And from that forms page, we added a few forms and learned about a few of the shortcuts. Of course, we've got plenty of other shortcuts that we're going to be talking about today and in our future trainings. But the best part is you can go ahead and you can start filling out your forms right away and start exploring some of those shortcuts yourself. Now, we're ready to go ahead and send for signatures. So the next step in a file, once you've filled out some forms, is to go ahead and send for signatures. So I'm going to open a set of forms that's had much more time and is fairly complete and ready for signing. And then I'm going to use the e-sign button to send for signatures. So let's go back into zipForm. I'm going to close this file that we started. And as I said before, I'm going to open a new file that already has quite a bit of work done in it already. It's ready for signatures. 1, 2, 3, sign away. So let's click Open. And that opens up our file. And again, you can see I used the cover sheet. Now the cover sheet has another advantage when you are sending for signatures, because whether or not your forms have email addresses in them, the cover sheet always has email addresses that you can fill out and enter in order to save those email addresses for future use, like sending for signatures. If we have those email addresses entered, those are automatically imported along with the client and other contacts' names when we go for signatures. So let's see that in action. Click e-sign and then click the sign button, and you can select what is going to be signed. So you don't have to send everything. You could even just send 1 or 2 documents. You could add an outside PDF document, and you can select who will be signing these documents. And when you continue to zipLogix Digital Ink, you're going to leave zipForm briefly so that you can mark these documents for signatures. Now, they're already going to have some default signature markings, some areas where people are going to sign. You can customize those areas where people are going to sign And you can add in text boxes or check boxes to fill out. You can also go ahead and you can go through and add in additional signers or add in those outside PDF documents. So we can go ahead and continue to zipLogix Digital Ink, where we can set up who will be signing under the Add Parties option. You can even set up the order they'll be signing. Move them up or down in the list to determine whether they sign at the same time, or each person signs first, second, third, and so on. So you have the control as the agent. Click Add Party to add a new signer, or use the CC list to determine who should receive a copy of all signed documents once signing is complete. Then click Next Step to continue. Now we'll have a detailed training on setting up for signatures, but sometimes the best way to learn these signatures is to go ahead and try it out yourself. So feel free to take advantage of your member benefit. Try out adding a few forms and filling out the cover sheet like we saw earlier, and then continue to zipLogix Digital Ink to go through and see this signing process and set up for signatures, perhaps even add an outside PDF document by clicking Add Document and then browsing for the file on your computer. Once you have your documents, the next step is the step where we can add and review signatures. So here on our signatures page, we can go through and we can see the zipForm forms already have the signature areas automatically pre-marked and ready to go. Now, you can go through and you can click and drag to edit where those signatures are. You can click and drag to add more signatures for a signer. So I can click on the signer and then click and drag to add a signature. Click and drag the sign button. Or click and drag the initials to add initials anywhere on the page. You can even click and drag to add text boxes or check boxes. So you can truly customize where someone is signing. And best of all, zipForm has gone through and already pre-marked some of those areas for you to save you time in the transaction. You can think of it as the digital or electronic equivalent of putting those little sticky notes on a page saying sign here, initial here. Now, once you've set up those signature areas, you're ready to click Next Step and continue to the sending process. When you click Next Step, you have the ability to customize the message for signers. Just click and type to change that message. And the ability to go ahead and click Send Now to send for signatures. Now when you send for signatures, the first person on the list is going to get an email with a link, and that email is going to allow them to begin signing those documents. So you are able to go ahead and control who's signing, when they're signing, and where they're signing, and you can do this all right from your computer. And the best part is clients don't need anything special to sign. They can sign from any computer and even from tablets. They can just click to sign or tap to sign. Their signature will be a digital signature. That means it is generated for them. We also have a few other options for signatures, but these digital signatures are a great way to work with people when you're not face-to-face with them. So let's just review that signing process so you know the basic steps, and so that you can try this out for yourself after the training. So to send documents for signatures using zipLogix Digital Ink, you're going right from zipForm. open up the forms, and click the e-sign button, then click Sign to go ahead and start the signing process. You can prepare for signing, selecting which forms will be signed, selecting those signers, and then click Continue to zipLogix Digital Ink in order to go ahead and continue customizing that signing process. Now, once you are customizing that signing process, you can click and drag to manage where people are signing. You can go ahead and go through and click and drag your different tasks, whether they're signatures, initials, or even the option for someone to read or acknowledge receipt of a document. So as the agent preparing this packet of documents for signatures, you are in control. Now, anyone who's signing is going to receive an email with a link when it is their turn to sign. They can click that link to go ahead and customize their signature, agree to the terms of signing, the e-sign legal consent, and they can begin to click to sign. Now, we have some great guides available for you, including 2 different guides you could hand to a signer, like your client. One is a quick marketing guide. It's about 2 pages long, and the other is a complete signing manual. And those can be found at zipLogix.com. So you can prepare these documents to be signed and have anyone sign anything from anywhere instantly and quickly. Now, what happens to those documents once they are signed? Well, as the agent, of course, you receive an email letting you know that all documents have been signed. And you're able to go in and you're able to review those documents, and so are the signers. But we also have another way of reviewing those documents and looking at those documents. We can find the documents, those signed documents, right inside of zipForm. They'll be located inside the vaults in zipForm. We're going to go ahead and take a look at our zipVault options. We're going to go through and add some documents, and we're going to take a look at where we'll be able to find those zipVault files later on. So let's go ahead over into zipVault and take a look. To get to zipVault, we're going to go right back to zipForm. Inside of zipForm, you are able to access your zipVault at any time. And that's where you have your stored documents. So we're going from filling out our forms to getting those signatures to coming back to the signed documents. Now, your zipVault is located and available inside your forms at any point in time. Click the zipVault Documents tab in order to access those documents. Or click the zipVault tab at the top. Either one will get you to the same place. So let's take a look at that zipVault. When you click the zipVault tab, you are accessing the storage capabilities within your zipForm file. Here at 123 Sign Away, I already have some documents that have been added. These include PDF documents. These also include documents that were signed with zipVault, with zipLogix Digital Ink, and stored inside zipVault. And they include documents that were signed on a tablet, so signed using TouchSign and then stored inside zipVault. You can keep these documents organized and keep your files intact just by clicking and dragging. So you can move documents around very easily and very quickly and create your own filing system for storing these documents. Now, the zipVault tab has many useful tools. We're just going to take a look at a few of them. Now, we are going to start off with the Add Document button. Click Add Documents, and that allows you to add a document from your computer. So you're prompted to browse for a file. Now, you can add as many documents as you need here within the vault. That's part of your member benefit, and it's attached to your zipForm file. Now, to add more than one document, hold down the Control key on your keyboard as you're selecting the different documents. Click Open, and then you're able to edit the name of the documents, and they are uploaded and stored inside your zipVault. Now, once we have these files online inside of zipVault, we can do a number of different things. We can add new folders to keep ourselves organized. Just click New Folder, and label your folder. And you'll see that folder here in what we call the zipVault. You can click and drag to move that around, and click and drag to move documents into that folder. So you can keep yourself organized. Now your files that have been signed will automatically be brought right back here into your vault, where you can organize them, label them, and send them. You can send an email to send these documents out to somebody. You can send a fax to fax these documents to somebody. You can also download a copy of these documents. Now, we know we can get zipVault files by having our documents signed using zipLogix Digital Ink or TouchSign, as we'll see a little bit later. We also can upload documents from our computer by clicking Add Document. But you also have the choice of faxing in a document. Use the Fax Cover Sheet button to go ahead and print out a cover sheet that you can use to fax into zipForm at any point in time. Or you can email an attachment into your zipForm just by clicking the Email to zipForm button. So there are a lot of different options to make it easy for you to store documents online and even have others contribute to this file that is going to be stored online. And best of all, since this file is stored online, we can also share the documents online. Click Share Documents to select or add someone you would like to share a link with so that they can click that link and view the documents you have shared. That way, you don't need to worry about email attachment sizes being too big or bouncing back when you send out a lot of documents. Finally, there's an expiration date over here in your vault. Your documents will be stored for as long as you have that zipForm file up to that expiration date. 30 days before the expiration date, you will receive some email notifications letting you know that it's about to expire. And of course, you can always archive these files, export and archive to download a copy to go ahead and save all of this information. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go through not only how we can save these files, but also how we can go ahead and work from anywhere using two tools that are built in as part of your member benefits and connect to your transactions. So, we talked about zipVault. And zipVault allowed you to go ahead and add documents, view those documents, and organize your files. Now, we also want to be able to go through and work with anyone even if they're not in front of us. zipConsult will let you do that. zipConsult is built right into zipForm. It's a screen sharing program, so you can share what's on your screen, you can share your webcam, and you can ask your clients to share their webcams. It's a virtual meeting. To open zipConsult, you can just click the zipConsult button on your home page. Now again, this is included with your member benefits. It does have some advertisements on the side, but there is an upgrade available if you'd like the ad-free version. And it's available at any time, so you can do a meeting on the fly and be able to share your webcam, share your screen, and even share a YouTube video if you'd like. You can invite anyone to attend your meeting, you can chat with them, and you'll even get a free conference call with dial-in information that you can go ahead and dial into at any point in time. Now, when you use zipConsult, you'll be able to meet face-to-face with someone, even if they're far away, whether they're across the state, across the country, or traveling somewhere else. As long as they have an internet connection, you'll be able to connect with them. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about meeting in person with someone. If you're meeting in person, the mobile web edition will help you to go through and provide your forms and contracts and even an easy way to get signatures using the touch sign option. So the mobile web edition lets you work on the go. You can visit your same sign-in page, zipformonline.com, from any web browser on any device. Whether you have a phone or a tablet like an iPad, you can use the mobile web edition to work on the go. Now, if you're working on a phone, you're going to see a slightly more limited version of zipForm. You're going to see the fast fill option. The fast fill option shows you, as we saw before, just the fields to fill out. But if you are working on a phone, you're only going to really want that fast fill option because it's awfully hard to see what's going on inside of a transaction if you're only on that little phone screen. So we give you the fast fill to help you fill out the forms, and you can always preview a form to see exactly what is located inside the form. Now, if you are on a tablet, like this iPad pictured here, you will be able to see the full form. Tap to fill out contracts. You can even email contracts right from your contracts page. You can save these contracts, and these will be able to be opened from zipForm 6 Professional, so from your online account, or on your phone or your mobile device. It's all synchronized together. Now, if you're on your tablet, not only can you fill out forms, but you can also sign them in person. You can use the touch sign option that's built right into the mobile web edition. You can select documents that are going to be signed using the touch sign options, and you can sign using just your finger. So in our future trainings, we're going to go into more detail, of course, on all of the features and shortcuts we've talked about, but especially on zipConsult and touch sign and that mobile web edition to help us save time and work on the go. But between now and then, you may have noticed that many of the features and functions are very intuitive and easy to use, so I encourage you to explore these features and explore these options on your own. These are your member benefits, and they're easily available and accessible at any point in time online. You can learn more at screaltors.com. You can find out additional information, training, and support, including dedicated training for the products that you're most interested in, as well as user guides that you can download and print out that would accompany this training. You can visit zipLogix.com to access all that great information. Plus, you're also able to access recordings of other trainings and, of course, sign up for your member benefit and go through and sign in to zipForm 6 Professional. Because as you saw in today's training, where we had this broad overview of all these great features and benefits, you can access all of them right from your zipForm 6 account. Now, I'd like to thank you for joining us today for this introductory webinar. I know we covered a lot of information. The idea was just to give you some ideas of where you might go with some of these member benefits. In our upcoming trainings, we'll cover additional features and benefits in much more detail, and we'll go over specific examples and make sure that you have all of the tools you need to take full advantage of your member benefits.